Hey guys, welcome back to LAB. I haven't even been gone that long this time. I'm like a bus, you don't hear from me for 3 weeks and then 2 videos come along in the same week. I really wanted to get this video out this week because I know a lot of you are attending the Legal Cheek Virtual Vac Scheme next week, which I am speaking at on the 24th, doing a day in the life of a litigator. Thanks all of you who've tagged me in your posts. I'm really looking forward to meeting all of you. And I thought I'd just do a video today just to put together some tips for how you guys can get the most out of the week. This will apply for all virtual vac schemes and virtual events, but because this one's coming up next week, I just thought I'd do it now. A lot of the principles which apply to virtual vac schemes are the same as those that apply to real life vac schemes, and I've already done a video about this called how to convert your vacay into a staycay, which I'm going to link up here for those of you who are watching on YouTube. And that's got a whole host of really good tips about how to make a good impression and how to get the most out of it. I'm not going to repeat those things here because I've already said them. So this video is more about the kind of niche virtual aspect of the current climate. So there are a few extra things that you might want to consider. I'm going to split this video into 3 sections, so the prep, the main bulk of the week, and then the follow-up. Don't worry, the prep is not significant, so if you're watching this the night before the vac scheme, that's absolutely fine. The first really important bit of information that I want to give you is to get into the mindset that this is a real vac scheme, because it is a real vac scheme. It may not feel like one because you're doing it from your sofa in front of a laptop, but it is a real vac scheme, especially if this is a vac scheme that you're doing with a firm that is a replacement for the physical vac scheme. So really try to get into the mindset as if you were going to be walking through the front door of that firm's offices on Monday morning and doing a real life vac scheme. This will really help you with all of the other aspects of the vac scheme if you've got this in mind. Make sure you really thoroughly read everything that's been sent to you in advance, because there may well be pre-reading for some of the activities that you're going to be given, and there also may be certain types of software that you need to set up before you start. I know next week, for example, we're using the Hop-In platform at Legal Cheek, and you'll need to make sure that you've got the right browser and that you set up your login information, everything like that, so you can start promptly on Monday morning. You can set up a bio and a profile and things like that, so you might want to do that in advance just to make sure there's nothing last minute that you're doing on Monday morning that might delay you, so you can start bang on the start time. I would always recommend that you do these virtual events on a laptop rather than on a phone, unless you've specifically been told otherwise by the provider, because I just find that if you're staring at a screen for a long time, it's better to have a bigger surface area to work with than staring at a tiny phone screen. You also generally get better functionality from a laptop. I'm pretty sure Legal Cheek will have told you to use a laptop next week, because I'm pretty sure you have to with Hop-In, but generally it's just better. So it's a good idea before the vac scheme actually starts to perhaps do a practice run with a friend or family member who you can connect with on Skype or Zoom, just to check that your video is okay and it's clear and your sound is okay and the place where you've chosen to position yourself is okay. There's nothing lurking in the background that perhaps you haven't noticed but the person on the other side can see. So do a little practice run first just to make sure you're all completely set up to avoid any glitches on the morning you start. If you've been given information about speakers or people that you're likely to meet or interact with during the week, do a Google on those people, read what's said about them on the firm's website or on social media, things like that, and try and prepare some good questions in advance, some sensible questions. And by sensible questions, I mean questions where the answer isn't obvious from the internet or from a website or from the graduate recruitment brochure. Try and find some unique questions that are tailored to that person that you're really interested in hearing the answer to. You can obviously add to that bank of questions throughout the week, but it's good to have some in advance in case you get stuck for words at any point. So you're prepped and ready, it's Monday morning, what are you going to do? You're going to choose your outfit. Again, get into the mindset that this is a real life vac scheme. Wear what you would have worn on the first day of your vac scheme if it was in an office. I know a lot of people say if you're doing a virtual event you only need to dress your top half, but I've seen too many reports in Legal Cheek and other publications of people who've been caught out by standing up in the middle of a video conference only wearing their boxer shorts or worse. So I would always recommend wear something smart on the bottom as well. This is my outfit that I've already picked out for the day, so it's comfy but it's also smart. If you're interested in the details of this outfit, they're all linked in my last Instagram post. So wear something comfortable but smart, just in case you do have to get up in the middle of a conference and you've forgotten to turn your video off or something. It's always better just to be prepared. I don't think you need to wear a suit, I don't think you need to have a jacket, but just make sure it's comfortable and you're not going to get too hot and sweaty, because it might not be an opportune moment for you to get up in the middle and change. So just make sure it's something comfy, maybe something you've worn before, but it's smart and presentable. Arrive promptly. I've already said that. You might want to log in a few minutes before if you want to have your breakfast or something like that, but just so you're ready and logged in, and then actually join the event when it starts. But just make sure if you're going to do that, that obviously your mic and your video are off so they can't hear you in the background. This sounds like an obvious one, but make sure you listen really carefully to any instructions that you're given. And obviously you would do this in person anyway, but I find it much more difficult to engage with a screen. I just find that after a few minutes I tend to drift off and my concentration wanders, and I just find it much harder to concentrate, and before I know it I've missed several important things. I don't tend to do that in person because I engage with a person who's talking to me directly, but with a screen it's much harder. But it's critical that you listen to everything, because it may not be an easy situation to ask someone to repeat something because you might be in a group situation, or it might be pre-recorded, you don't know. So really try and listen to everything that you're being told as best as you possibly can. Next, very important piece of advice is to take really good notes. And of course, I've prepared something to help you with that, which is where the giveaway comes in. So one of the things I see most often on student application forms and cover letters is a really good description of what you did on a VAC scheme, but then not following through with what skills you learned and how that's relevant to a career in law. So I have provided this handy template for you, which is fully set up for the Legal Chic VAC scheme, but I will send it to you in Word format so that you could use it for any other event that you like. If you would like a copy of this template, email me at laurenbroader@gmail.com and I will send it to you for free. But the great thing about this template is it's specifically set out with the relevant columns to make sure that you take notes in this way, and this will make it infinitely easier when you come to do applications and cover letters if you already have your notes set out like this, because this is a structure that you need to use to write up your experience. It's not enough to just say what you did, you need to say what you learned and how that's relevant. And this handy grid will help you to do that. So if you want one of these grids, email me, laurenbroader@gmail.com. I will send you a Word template for free. Next piece of advice, be prepared to be put on video at any time. I normally recommend your default position is to put your mic on mute and your video off, unless you're being spoken to or you're told that you need to have them on, because it just avoids any unforeseen circumstances where you're caught saying something or doing something that you don't want to be because you didn't realise that those things were on. Hilariously, I've just knocked my mic over. Sorry about that. That was a really weird noise. So make sure you are prepared to be on camera at any point. Make sure you are dressed and ready at the beginning of the day in case you get called upon. You don't want to miss that opportunity, because it can be a great opportunity to get put on screen, particularly at the Legal Chic VAC scheme next week. There's going to be a lot of people there, a lot of speakers there. If you get the opportunity for any reason to come up on stage and ask a question, I don't know if that will happen, but you don't want to miss that opportunity because you're not presentable to be on video. Another important point is if your video is on, make sure you look interested and you don't forget that your video is on. I've done this 100 times where I'm on a work call and I've been on it for half an hour and I haven't said anything for ages, and I've just completely forgotten that I'm on camera. And it's so easy to do, but it can affect people's impressions of you if you're kind of looking around or looking down or obviously looking at your phone or another screen. So make sure that whilst you are on video, remember you're on video and look engaged and interested. Final piece of advice for what to do during the VAC scheme is to use all available networking opportunities. There may be after parties, there may be specific networking sessions either after a talk or at lunchtime. Make sure you go to them all and use them all as best as you possibly can. Use those questions that you've prepped beforehand and the ones that you've been making notes of during the sessions, and seek out the people that you want to talk to. Make sure you don't miss those opportunities, because those are the opportunities to make direct connections with people rather than just listening to the information that's given. Those are the really, really important points, is to actually make real connections with people on that VAC scheme. Also network with the other attendees. I know that's not an obvious one because your primary concern is the speakers, but actually you've got a real network there of other people who've done a lot of research and may well have really useful information to share with you. There's often what I think of as the misconception that you're all in competition with each other. And yes, law is very competitive, but I've always said to you, and I stand by the fact that this is about you, and if you meet the criteria, you will get through the process. Particularly with the new SQE coming in, there is a place for everyone. You just have to hit those criteria. So really try not to think of this as a competition, and actually collaborating with other people who are attending is a really good way of finding out additional information that perhaps you wouldn't have found out on your own. So don't be afraid. In fact, I actively encourage you to meet with and network with the other attendees, because that's a real missed opportunity if you don't do that. I know there is a LinkedIn group or a WhatsApp group that's going around for attendees. I'm going to link that in the description below, or the details of how to join if you want to be a part of that. That's about all I was going to say for what to do during the week. Follow up. If you've used my grid, follow up is minimal because you would have taken all the notes and you will have put them down in a format that's really easy to use when you come to doing your applications and your CV. So you don't need to do too much follow up in that respect if you've used my grid. If not, then just make sure you type up all the notes that you've taken throughout the week and try and organise them in the format that I've suggested, because it will save you a lot of time when you come to do your applications and your cover letters, and that will also get all the information across in the best possible way. Other key follow-up. The other key follow-up point is to make sure you follow up the conversation with anybody who you've spoken to or would like to speak to during the week. So anybody who's been a speaker at any of the events, make sure you send them a connection request on LinkedIn. If you've had a conversation, just remind them of who you are and the conversation that you had, and just say you'd really like to connect with them going forward. Or if it's not somebody you had a chance to speak to, just say that you enjoyed listening to their talk and you'd really like to connect with them. And if you've got any questions, then you can ask them there. I'd recommend doing that on the same day as you meet the person or the person speaks, just so they've got it fresh in their mind, and then you've got less follow-up to do at the end. But make sure you carry on those conversations and you don't miss that opportunity to make a lasting connection. Okay, that's it. Another long video. Sorry about that. I just obviously love the sound of my own voice at the moment, which is why these videos are so long. Hopefully they've also been helpful, which is the key part of these videos. If you've got any questions, drop them in the comments below or message me separately and I will try and get to them, but please bear with me because I do get a lot of questions and I try to get to them as quickly as I can. Thanks a lot for watching. Those of you who are coming next week, I will see you there. For the rest of you, I'll see you next time. Good luck, guys. Bye.